Hello, hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday it is. You know who I am? I am Enda of Enda's Boutique, my bookstore. We're in Duncanville, Texas. We are live and it's coming on through. It's coming on through. All right, everybody. So you know what you need to do. Come through here. I'm getting ready to share it to my personal Facebook page. So I need everybody to call your friends, your family, your loved ones. Let me make sure I'm not too live so you don't hear my voice of everything. But I need you to connect to everybody that you know who have children, parents of children, all those types of fun and neat things. And the reason why is because we have an amazing team of women who are going to share with us their project that they have put together and projects for the future to help our young people be readers, because you know the saying, readers are leaders, and we definitely want to have future leaders in our society who love to read. Okay, because you know what, you know I'm a teacher. And the one thing I hate when people tell me this, because I used to say this too, is I don't like to read. And I tell people that is not true, because you read your text messages, you read your social media feed, you read. We always are reading. It's just we have specific things that we like to read, things that entertain us, things that pique our interest. And so what I love for parents to do is to start at a very early age, getting your young people into reading. That's so very important, because reading increases our vocabulary increases, so our diction, our conversation increases. Now we're able to put pen to paper or type in words and create those fun essays, all those wonderful things, because what, readers are leaders. So before I get started with these beautiful ladies, I want to give a shout out to my wonderful sister. You know, I have 3 of them and I'm the oldest of 4, but this one, she always tells people she's the oldest. Her name is Lisa Pemberton Evans, and she and her friend Cheryl are co-founders of Hearts of Learning, which is the store that we work with as relates to getting out literature information for our young people. They have a love for young folks, and so they're located on Main Street, down the street from Enda's Boutique. So Hearts of Learning, if you want to know more about them, just Google the Hearts of Learning, Duncanville, Texas. Their websites will pop up. Give them a call, go visit them. If you are a teacher, let me tell you, do not go in with your credit card, go in with cash only. She's gonna shoot me for this, but if you go in with the credit card, you're gonna have a $200 credit bill, because let me tell you, they have all kinds of amazing things for teachers, all kinds of stuff. See, so I don't like going over there, because I go and spend all types of money. So for teachers and for young people. So that leads me into talking about my amazing, wonderful ladies that I have here with me today. Reached out to the bookstore a couple of months ago, last year, at the end of last year, and sent us a wonderful care package with books that focused on science. Piqued my interest immediately, because not only do we want to get our young people into reading, but we need to make sure that there is a love for science, because unfortunately, even when I was growing up, we think of scientists as men in white jackets and looking very, very scary, you know. I think of even cartoons. I forgot what cartoon it is, but they talk about the laboratory. And I'm like, oh, that sounds very scary. Oh my gosh, I don't want to go to the laboratory. I just want science to be fun. So Shelli sent a package to us, and this package is so much fun. It's exciting. And the other piece is it shows girls, little girls that are becoming scientists. I love that. I love that. I love that. So let me do this. Let me introduce to you all this beautiful, wonderful woman. I call her my sister, because all of us, we are the mothers of this land, and that makes us all sisters. So yep. I want to say hello to Shelli. Hello, Shelli.
Hi.
With her is another beautiful sister. Her name is Joelle. She is the illustrator of these amazing science books with girls in them. So I want everybody to say hello to Joelle. Hello, Joelle.
Hi.
Joelle's like, she is really extra. I know I am. I'm very extra, baby. So listen, it's International Women's Month. We don't just get one day. We get a whole month. And this is the perfect month, not just to celebrate women who have done incredible things, women who are doing great things, but also to encourage us to grab grab hold to our young girls who will become women and to encourage them into the STEM program of science, technology, engineering, and math. So this just kick it off with Shelli. Shelli, you know what? I want you to introduce yourself, tell everybody who you are. I know you have a PowerPoint to show us. You're going to do a little story time reading. So I want you to do you, boo. So let's go ahead and pass the mic over to Miss Shelli. Shelli, talk about who you are and let's do some story time reading.
Okay, so I'm Shelli Johannes, and I am one of the authors of the Cece Loves Science series. Cece Loves Science came out several years ago, and the initial illustrator was Vashti Harrison, who wrote Bold Little Leaders. And what we wanted to do was create a series of really smart girls that loved science, knew a lot about science, and really made science fun. So to give you an idea, and just how it got started is my daughter has always loved science. And when she's 17 now, but when she was about 10, she always went to science camp, was in science club. And that one year I said, "Are you excited about science camp this year?" And she said, "No." And I said, "Why not? You love science." And she said, "Because science is for boys and it isn't fun anymore." And so my husband has a PhD in topography, and I do a lot of work with animal conservation groups and love science. And so coming from a family who loves science and, has degrees in science, we couldn't figure out how. It scared us that she had somehow gotten this random message somewhere that science was for boys and it wasn't fun. So Kim and I came together with this idea of, let's do a Fancy Nancy for science. Instead of just focusing on making our girls pink and pretty, let's also make them smart. And so that was kind of what got this group started. So that was
that
was how we started Cece Loves Science. So our series is Love Science series. So Cece loves zoology. And so she does everything with animals. And that is Vashti Harrison is the illustrator of that. And we have 3 books in that series. This one is where she investigates, do dogs eat vegetables? And she experiments to answer those questions. This one is when they go on a nature hike and they try to find something that is STEM related on their nature hike. And then we have the I Can Read that focuses on the push and pull. Well, after Vashti's book came out, we decided to extend the series because we had such a great response to it in getting girls into STEM. So Joelle came in as our lovely new illustrator, and we are now on our second character, which is Libby Loves Science. And Libby loves chemistry. So that is kind of where we are today. And the series is planning to continue into even some other characters. So that was kind of how that got started.
Wonderful. And before you get started with your PowerPoints, with that, with the Libby and the CCs, and let's talk about, because of course, obviously you have women of color on the cover and you have women of color in the book. Why did you make the decision to go in that direction?
So our editor felt it was very important to not only show girls in science, but to show diversity. And so if you look throughout the books, it's fully inclusive, everyone does use the word diversity, but I like to use the word inclusive because there's everyone in the book. There's redheads, there's people of color, there's people of Indian descent, Latino descent. And so we really wanted to make sure that everyone saw themselves in this book.
I love it. And it is very, very attractive. And we speak of inclusivity. We want to be inclusive, but oftentimes we ourselves exclude people trying to be included. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So the reason why I wanted to make sure we got you on here, and I'm appreciative of even your illustrator, is when I saw the book, I was like, oh, wow, it's that song, Red, Yellow, Black and White, we are precious in his sight type of song. That's an old school song, so I'm showing my age. I'll be 55 in April. So but that was the song I remember growing up with, red, yellow, black and white, we are precious in his sight. And we need to get back to that, or we need to get to that. I don't know if we ever were there, but if we talk about inclusivity, we need to somewhere start that ball rolling and make sure that we continue that ball with that. And that doesn't mean don't be proud of who you are and your heritage, but as you are being proud, make sure that we are inclusive. So I love your book. I'm appreciative of the book, and I'm glad we got Cece. Now we have Libby. So it's just a fun book. And again, if you're just now joining us, I have with me Shelli, who is one of the authors of the science book series. And it's a book series that focuses on young girls, encouraging young girls to have an appreciation for science, and down the road get into the field of science and engineering and technology and chemistry. So I'm loving that. All right, you have a PowerPoint, Shelli. Let's go ahead and get with the PowerPoint and get started.
So the PowerPoint is really, I'm going to focus on reading Libby Loves Science. And I did want to say, just because I think this is important, when we did change illustrators, it was equally important for us. We had conversations with our editor team in making sure that we supported person of color artists, that we wanted to make sure, Vashti, I always say her name wrong. Vashti was such a great representation and addition to our books that it was important to us to continue that tradition. And we actually found Joelle on Instagram. So for people who, and Joelle, were you in the book industry at the time, or?
No, not really, not technically.
You were doing mainly art online and in other forums.
Yeah. There's like some books involved, like in the app that I work on in my day job, but it's not like actual books you can buy.
Yeah, and so when we were looking for someone to not replace Vashti, because you can't replace her, but to add to her beautiful work, the interesting thing is, that I think you'll find interesting, is our main objective was to make sure that we could find someone that could emulate what we saw in the eyes of Cece, which was just life and sparkle. And so when we were looking through Instagram, that was one of the pictures that we came across, was Joelle. So I think that's a great story, especially in publishing, that you put your art out there, put it out there, and it will come, right?
Yeah, so, I love that. Thank God. Instagram is a beautiful thing. So those of you who are watching, of course, Instagram and Facebook, social media, and when you put quality work out there, you just never know who is watching, who is looking. I have to even salute to my Facebook family and my Instagram family, Twitter family, because a lot of times when I ask people, how did you find this bookstore? They'll tell me through Facebook, through Twitter, through Instagram. So, the importance of your message being out there in a very positive and productive way, because you just never know who is looking for what. And kudos to you, Joelle, putting your artwork out there and being able to be found, because it wasn't just that your artwork was out there, it was the quality of your work. And so someone was looking for that. The Bible says your gift will make room for you, and boom, there it is. It just shifted into the platform. So the both of you are going to give us some information. So go ahead, Shelli, with your PowerPoint. Let's get started.
Okay, let me just pull this up real quick.
Yeah, I know we try and do technology without the young folks, so y'all just be patient with us, please. Joelle is like, she need to hurry up now. I could have been did this.
Sorry, can you see that?
We can see it.
Okay, this is Libby Loves Science. Libby is adorable. It's like every character that comes up through Vashti's into Joelle's, we're always like, oh, that's our favorite character. No, that's our favorite character. We just can't decide who's cuter, or we're always, I want to wear that, because they're just so cute and hip too. So this is Libby Loves Science. And again, Libby loves chemistry. So we will get into the story. Libby loved science. She loved mixing, pouring, measuring, and stirring. And this is Libby's dog, Sprinkles. Whipping up ingredients and making delicious things to eat was one of Libby's favorite ways to experiment. Rainbow pancakes taste way better than plain ones, she told her family, and sometimes it was true. At school, Libby's science teacher, Mr. Darwin, taught her class about chemistry. Libby loved chemistry because chemistry was all about mixing, pouring, measuring, and stirring. Not all chemical reactions occur at the same rate, said Mr. Darwin. Uh-oh, said Libby. Looks like ours reacted too much. Remember, your measurements need to be precise, said Mr. Darwin, but it's okay. Mistakes can lead to discoveries. And sometimes making mistakes was way more fun than cleaning up. And you'll notice we have all of the experiments in the book that you can actually do at home. So we made sure they were safe experiments that kids could do at home with regular ingredients that moms and dads could find. One day in class, Mr. Darwin made an important announcement. We are in charge of the science booth at our school's fall festival, he said. Everyone was excited. The fall festival was fun, and Libby liked the science booth the best. Yay, we will have the best booth ever, said Libby. This year, said Mr. Darwin, the booth that gets the most visitors and collects the most tickets wins an ice cream party. We need volunteers to run our booth. Libby, Finn, and Rosa jumped up from their desks. We'll do it, said Libby. Libby, Finn, and Rosa met at Libby's house after school. We absolutely need to win, said Libby. Just imagine it, an ice cream party. I love ice cream parties, said Rosa. Competing with the bouncy house will not be easy, said Finn. I think we can do fun experiments that everyone will want to try, Libby said. And we can decorate the booth too, said Rosa. I have tons of art supplies, said Finn. We can make the booth stand out. Libby, Finn, and Rosa searched for fun experiments. They made a list of possibilities and voted for their top 3 favorites. Finn decided to make giant bubbles, Rosa wanted to mix fluffy slime, and Libby chose to launch a rocket. I can't wait for the festival, she said. Here's their booth. Finally, the day of the festival arrived. Libby, Finn, and Rosa got there early to help Mr. Darwin set up the booth. Finn hauled in a hula hoop, dish soap, corn syrup, and a kiddie pool. Rosa carried a basket of shaving cream, glue, saline solution, and glitter. And Libby brought baking soda, vinegar, and empty water bottles. They decorated the booth with posters and signs and science-y stuff. When the festival opened, the cotton candy booth was swamped right away. The dunk tank was a huge hit, but the face painting team, they were the one to beat. The festival was crowded with friends and family and teachers having fun. No one's coming to our booth, said Finn. Maybe everyone thinks science is boring, said Rosa. Science is never boring, Libby said. We just need to show them science is fun. I know, said Finn. Let's start by blowing giant bubbles. The bigger the better, said Rosa. Finn filled the kiddie pool with water while Rosa mixed in the soap. I almost said soup. The secret ingredient is corn syrup, Libby said. Yep, it makes bubbles a bajillion times stronger. Now let's make some slime, Rosa said to the crowd who had gathered to make bubbles. Extra glitter equals extra sparkle, added Finn. It's important to add the saline just a little at a time, said Libby. That's what makes it extra squishy. Now for the grand finale, said Rosa. Our rocket will be out of this world, said Finn. We'll win for sure. If we use a lot of extra baking soda, that rocket might go even higher, said Libby. Science is a blast, said Rosa. When Libby added in the baking soda, the liquid started to bubble. But when the bottle filled up, the rocket zoomed high into the air. Whoosh! Unfortunately, it sprayed everywhere. It sprayed all over the kids waiting in line. It sprayed way more than Libby had predicted. Everyone got soaking wet and ran away. The face painting booth still has a huge line, said Finn. I don't know if we have enough tickets. I'm sorry, said Libby. I thought the rocket would be awesome. Well, at least we got a big reaction, said Rosa. The next day, Principal Neal announced the winner of the Fall Festival booth contest. The ice cream party goes to the art club, she said. Their face painting booth won by a landslide. Everyone cheered, even Libby, even though she felt as though she had let her entire science class down. Mr. Darwin called Libby, Finn, and Rosa to his desk. You 3 did a great job on the booth, he said. But we didn't win the ice cream party, said Libby. That doesn't mean we can't celebrate how hard you tried, Mr. Darwin said. Any ideas? Maybe we can have our own party, Rosa said. What kind of party? Finn asked. An ice cream party. And I know how we can make our very own ice cream. Libby jumped up. I know exactly what we need. She wrote a list of ingredients on the board. Rosa borrowed sugar from the teacher's lounge. Finn ran to the cafeteria for ice and milk. Mr. Darwin grabbed vanilla, rock salt, and freezer bags from his supply cabinet. Libby walked the class through the steps in the recipe. She even added lots of color because rainbow ice cream usually tastes better than plain. This is delicious, said Finn. Sometimes the best reactions aren't always the first reaction, Mr. Darwin said. And science is cool, said Rosa. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Because ice cream is cool, said Rosa. Yeah, and science is cool too, said Libby. It's them eating ice cream that you can make at home. And then here's her little glossary where she keeps all her words down. And
I love it.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah.
I remember when I was growing up, my dad made ice cream. We had those little ice cream makers. So back in the day. So yes, Yes, I think that's kind of getting back into it. Some people are now starting back making their own ice cream. I
Yes.
love it. Yes, it's a great, great book. All right, let's get to Joelle, our illustrator. My goodness, I was looking at the pictures, the illustrations.
Beautiful.
Amazing, amazing, Joelle. You did an amazing job
The
bringing
color.
life. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
I
Shelli.
was just gonna say the color is just,
I was
yeah.
amazing. So let's talk about Joelle. What made you decide to become get into the art field, and how did you transition into the illustrator role?
Mhm. I mean, I guess for as long as I can remember, I was always drawing. I think my earliest memory was me drawing with a purple crayon in a Beauty and the Beast coloring book. So it just was like something natural for me, and I went to school for it, and then from there I just I mean, I was always into like playing video games and watching animation, and also being inspired by children's books that I read growing up. And I don't know, just naturally flowed for me. And I the whole reason I started posting my art on Instagram, funnily enough, a childhood friend who I talk to from time to time suggested it to me when Instagram was just kind of starting. He's like, you should post your art on there. And I was like, I don't know, that seems kind of dumb. I don't really know if that's he's like, no, you should totally do it. So I took his advice and I did it. And it's kind of funny, like all the jobs I have gotten for the past few years has been from my Instagram. I don't know, I've always, like I said, I loved being inspired by children's books that I read growing up. And so I sort of wanted to pay it forward in a way, and then inspire future children so that they one day grow up and be like, hey, did you ever read that Libby book? Do you remember that book?
Oh, I would love that. That would be awesome.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's just kind of how it happens for me.
Yeah, and what's so cool is sometimes you don't really know, even when you watch some of the Disney's, you don't know the voices behind the characters, and then one day, now we get a chance to really know more because of social media who's behind it. But sometimes you didn't never know until down the road. You may look at someone's resume and say, "Oh, I didn't even know that was that person."
Yeah.
So the same thing with the book. When you look at books, you're just reading the information. There are pictures there, but you never really think about, this is a different person creating the artwork within the picture, the book itself. And, that's one of the responsibilities I would say myself now as a bookstore owner, is to make sure that we don't just show out with the authors, but also make sure that we give credit if it's someone else, which is what you're doing, Shelli, the person who is bringing it to life through art, through pictures. You really don't think about those things, and they work really, really hard. People who take pictures and submit their work to bring life to the information. I mean, even when we read the newspapers, we see narratives and articles, but there's a picture with it, and it gives credit, but we really don't think about, this is another person who is bringing life to the information, to the story. The color, the artwork, all of that is just amazing. And you're going to go ahead and share with us a presentation on your PowerPoint as well. Go ahead, Joelle, and share with us your presentation, and talk to us a little bit about your work and what you're doing.
Okay. Let's see. Here we go.
See how quick she did that? I told she was talking about us, Shelli, because Cece, she did that real quick. Talk to us a little bit about it. I'm going to mute you while you talk. Go ahead.
Okay. So this is basically how I start out most of my illustrations, not just for the books, but just in general as well. I do like a little, I call it like a blob sketch, even though some people might think that it looks good the way it is. I just kind of like throw it down first. And I did it beforehand because I wasn't sure if I could do it on camera. But this is like the under sketch, and I start out that way. And then I go ahead and I lower the opacity of it so it's a little less prominent. And then I put another layer on top of that. And this is just for like a sketch. Here we go. I'll choose my favorite brush. bit bigger.
And so Joelle, you draw digitally? Is that what
Oh yeah,
your stuff is all
this is
digital? Okay.
yes, this is Photoshop, and I have this tablet with a pen, and that's what I use to draw on. So for Libby,
Hey, before you go any further, Joelle, before you go further, that tablet with the pen,
yeah.
so that's connected to the programming. So people can kind of get an idea, especially because we have people who are thriving young artists and they want to know how they can do something like this. So we're learning. I'm excited. So go ahead. Okay, finish.
Okay. This is I don't know if it's pronounced Wacom or Wacom, but I'm gonna say Wacom. It's a Wacom drawing tablet. This one's wireless. I just upgraded to this earlier this year. The one that I had before that I got in like 2006, and it like had just died in January, so it lasted a long time. So I guess what you do is you get the tablet, and then you get the program Photoshop, and you install them individually, and then once you have the drivers for the tablet installed on your computer, then you should be able to use the pen on the tablet, and it'll show up on the screen. Like you can see my little brush right there going in circles. Yeah, I highly recommend artists who want to like be in the field or do digital art invest in a tablet, because like I said, the one that I had that I had first gotten lasted a really long time, and I went through college with it, went through several jobs with it, and I just learned how to digitally paint with it. So it's a very good investment. Right. So I would highly recommend that, and Photoshop as well. So with Libby, it's important for me to like get the shape of her head right. So sometimes I'll do it multiple times before I get it right, because just like one line off and it doesn't look like her. It's very strange. I don't know how that happened, but that's what happens with characters sometimes. So I'll do the head first initially.
And when you started drawing Libby, did you know it? Did you immediately have, I'm sorry, I completely asked you a question about my
own character. That's okay.
Did you immediately have an idea in your mind, like, I know exactly who Libby is, or did you play with different characters first?
I kind of did. And
that's cool.
I sort of, I thought about the media that I'm exposed to, and as well as the books I'm exposed to. And since this was a science book focusing on girls, I sort of realized that I had never really seen a dark-skinned Black girl like into science or into chemistry, and I kind of thought that's really sad. So I sort of felt like it was my duty to, if I was going to design these characters, then I was like, then I'm going to make her what I don't see often, so that little girls who look like that can see themselves represented. And I have two nieces who are now 10 and 13, and that pains me to say because it makes me feel old. But I sort of based Libby off of a combination of my two nieces and myself when I was a little girl. And so she sort of just came about that way. And like I said, I wanted to make sure she was something that people don't normally see represented, so that people could.
I mean, when we first saw Libby, we were like, she's so cool. The coolest character, her outfit, the way she puts her outfits together. I mean, she just has so much personality.
In the book, I love the way she looks in the book. That's what I said, the character, and it pops out. You know, it's not a hidden character personality. I mean, she pops out strong, and I love that. And look at what you're doing now. So I'm just getting amazed. So now you're doing the hair. I even like the way her hair looks, you know, the design, her eyes, everything. I mean, she speaks volumes. So you're doing the head, the face, the head with the hair, and the neck.
And then I'll just like flow through the drawing. I don't really have like an order,
right,
in which I go about it. It's just kind of what I want to do next. You know, what's the most fun.
So the facial features is something you do last after you do, or is it just random? Or
sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I'm like afraid because I'm like, is this gonna be correct? Is her eye gonna look weird? Even though I've been, like I said, I've been drawing all my life, and I still sometimes I'm like, I can't draw. But yeah,
I
so
think you
it's,
can.
it's thank you.
Yes. If you and
That's
if you guys
something
are just tuning in, and of course you know who I am, and I have
do
with
it.
me Shelli and Joelle. And Shelli is the author of there's a science books series, and it focuses on bringing our young girls into the love of science. And even, and of course I'm going to say this, because they love science, it's encouraging them. She shared with us earlier about her daughter loving science, but like some of us, many of us, when we saw scientists, it didn't look feminine at all. And so it wasn't compelling to us to get into it. So she began to put together the series, and to be more inclusive, she wanted to make sure that the characters were of all races. And so her illustrators so far have been African-American women. And so you have with us Joelle, who is live painting. She's putting together this picture before us while I'm speaking, and demonstrating and showing to us how she starts off with her sketches and bring life to characters that Shelli and her other author have put together in these books. I'm loving this. You know, usually I don't do children's books, but I am having so much fun. I'm going to give me a coloring book and start coloring characters and stuff like that. So one of the things that Shelli asked, which is a very good question, is did you have in mind how you wanted the character to look? And so, of course, Joelle said yes, but she's bringing it to life in front of us. So guys, listen, first of all, I need you to go to my website, and I need you to click to purchase the book, okay? Libby Loves Science. It's the whole science book series, okay? I need you to go do that for your young person. Readers are leaders. I need you to support this, and I need you to love tap this video, hearts. I need you to post comments, subscribe, follow, do those things to show your love, and go get the book. And then guess what? Put a review. Don't just get the book. Add a review to the book, and add a review to the book with the information, the narrative, but also the illustrations. Even for me, I'm improving and developing myself, because oftentimes I talk about just the information and narrative, but guess what? Being part of this, I'm saying I also need to talk about the illustration, how powerful it is, how attractive it is, how inclusive it is, those types of things. So
Yeah, I
all
mean, this
right, go
would
ahead.
not be the same without Joelle, right? Like
It
it's,
would not.
and she had some big shoes to step into, right? Because
Yes.
Vashti really took off. So, and I mean, she just blew it out of the water.
Look at this. I love it. While we're talking, she's just
And
putting
it's
it together.
such simple lines. I was just noticing, you know, it feels like I could draw, I should have drawn Libby while you were. Because I think you would have seen the vast difference in Libby's end result.
Yeah, and you're right, Shelli. What I like is she's just lines, different places are lines, but how it brings out the character. What such a talent and gift this is.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. All right, those of you who are watching, give us some hearts. Tell us your thoughts. Let me know what you're feeling about this. I love this. This is great. This is great. And of course, you can go to our website, Enda's BOOKtique, to get a copy of this. While Joelle is showing off in front of the world right now, Shelli, can you share with us your contact information, your website, your social media handles, please?
Yeah, I'm at srjohannes.com. Pretty much, and Instagram's srjohannes. My Twitter's srjohannes. I did want to give you guys a little sneak peek to the new character coming out, if I can.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so because Cece loved zoology and Libby loves chemistry, we wanted to go with a different science for our third character. And so we are Vivi Loves Science, who's equally as cute.
I love it.
Comes out in July, and this is a book that's set at the beach where the kids are studying tide pools, and Vivi wants to be a marine biologist. So it's adorable. And just to give you guys a little sneak peek on my favorite artistic page to show Joelle, because it's absolutely brilliant and amazing. I don't even see how she did it. Is just the perspective.
Oh, wow.
Just
Look at
really
that.
beautiful perspectives in this book.
I love it. I
Um,
love it.
that really, that we were just so amazed at, like just thought were so beautiful. So we're excited about it. So that one comes out in July, and it's all about the beach and there'll be an I can read with that one as well that focuses on sink and swim.
We'll definitely do that. Shelli, let's talk about the age bracket for your books.
Yeah.
Your readers. What grade?
I would say it's all of elementary school, because I have done school visits where I've gone into kindergarten and, first grade and read, and we've talked about reading and who the character is. But I've also done some great school visits with 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders where we've done some of the experiments. We've talked about writing a little bit more in general. And we've really talked about, I think our big message is around science is not just a subject in school. Science is everywhere. And somehow kids start to get an idea when they get later in elementary school that when science becomes a subject, that I have to go to school to do science. And so our whole message is, you walk outside and look at the trees, that's botany. And when you go to the beach, it's oceanography and marine biology. And when you bake, it's chemistry. And so even when you do video games, it's computer science. So our whole thing is that science is everywhere. It's not a subject in school. It's what makes up our world. And so to look for it more outside of school and to, digging up earthworms and picking flowers, that's all science. Right. So that's kind of the message that we have in schools. So I would say elementary schools have been great from K to 5.
Right. I love it. And your books also, for those of you in education, typically it tells you your reading level. So it provides that, which is very helpful as you begin to improve and develop your young readers. So we have Cece, we have Libby, and now we got Vivi is coming out next, right? Yeah. A very, very fun book. And while we're talking, we're watching characters come to life. Joelle is just doing the doggone thing. Oh my goodness, look at this. This is so much fun. If you're just joining us again, of course, I'm E. Jean, the founder of Enda's BOOKtique, and we are watching Joelle bring life to this. So is this Libby you're drawing right now, correct? Or are you just drawing someone? This is officially Libby. Looks like Libby. Okay. So she's bringing the character of Libby to life in front of us, live on Facebook, live. If you go to my YouTube channel, you'll be able to see it, the recording. The founder or the authors of the science books include Shelli. And of course, she talked about what made encourage her to get into this. So let's talk a little bit about, we know that this is good for educators, but Shelli, let's talk to the parents. Yeah. Let's reach out to the parents, because this is where it started with you. It didn't start necessarily from an educational perspective. It came from a parental experience with your daughter, right? You guys went through a scenario with your daughter. So let's reach out to parents, and from a mother's perspective, what can we tell our mothers of daughters, fathers of daughters? How can we connect to them and bring them into this field so we can encourage our daughters to be scientists?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we try to do as parents is just look for those experiments to do at home that are fun outside. We're trying to just get away from science as just this educational experience. It's experience we can create for our kids at home, which is why we really worked with our editor to make sure that all of the experiments that they do in the books are in there, but that they are home friendly. So you don't have to go out and get these fancy beakers or these things that you might not have at home. You can make ice cream by just pulling out some ice and some vanilla and some salt. And it's something that you don't really have to prepare for or overthink, and every experiment that we did, we wanted to make sure, is this something I would do with my kid at home? Is this safe for me to do at home? Are these safe ingredients for kids to have at home? So we really wanted to make sure that it was very accessible to families.
Right. Look at this. Hi, Libby.
This is just exciting for me because I haven't seen any of this either. So it's just as enamorous for me to see her, come to
watch you do this. This is so much fun. All right. If you are watching this and you haven't gone to my website to pick up the book, I need you to do that quickly. And then, of course, I want you to follow these ladies. This is the neatest thing. And I really, for the last couple of months, have gotten into being more connected to those who are artists. I've got to give a shout out to Charles Moore, who also an author of a book that focuses on Black art. Just really got me into looking at things from a different perspective when we collect art, understanding, or even, like I said, looking at this book, understanding the power that comes behind the illustration and the art and the people that put their sweat and their blood into it. And the gift and the talent that comes with this is just amazing. So we appreciate it. We are connected to it, but we really don't. And I'll say me, I really didn't in the past think about the person who does this. I know it exists, but bringing a platform or providing a platform for it, totally different. So I appreciate you, Shelli, making sure Joelle is part of this conversation and we get a chance to see Libby come to life live. This is just
Yeah, I think it's important. It's important for kids to see themselves in books. So
yes.
If you look in all of our books, like we try to really,
Yes.
this is the teacher who I just think is beautiful. We
Yes.
always try to make sure that we see the real world in the books.
Yes.
One story that's interesting is in the second Cece Loves Science and Adventure, we had always been focusing on girls. So in the first book, Cece has a friend called Isaac. And so she and Isaac are the ones that do the experiment. Well, in the second book, we did adventure girls and we left out the boys. Can't tell you how many messages we got from kids when we went to schools. What happened to the boys? Like, how come there's no, we could, and Kim and I writing the next story, we're like, we have to put boys back in this book. It is about having strong girls in science. That's important because we don't see ourselves in the science world, but we also want boys to know science is fun. Science is for everyone. Science is smart. And so when we did, the Cece Loves Science push and pull, we put Isaac back in. And we have made sure that there was a boy in every book going forward. We realized in being inclusive for girls, in that one sense, we had kind of stepped away and hadn't really given any opportunity to the boys. And we didn't realize the boys would love the series as much. So that was a good kind of lesson for us.
Yes.
And it's one regret that we have looking back is we wish we would have done adventure kids instead of adventure girls and kept Isaac in.
Yeah. And it's okay. And you know what? I'm glad that you decided to do that. When you said that, I was thinking about the Magic School Bus, how you have that interaction, and we're talking about Libby and Cece, that interaction with boys and with other people is important because it doesn't isolate us. We can be powerful and strong and inclusive and interact with other people who appreciate that. So sometimes when we talk about power to the women and all those types of things, we isolate ourselves from other folks who appreciate that. Women appreciate powerful women, but so do men. So sometimes we can create such a super moment and exclude everyone else instead of allowing the interaction and the reaction and the responses where there is a concise and an appreciation from both sexes and all those types of things. So wonderful that you brought them back into that. And I think all of the books are great. Sometimes you do have books that are just for men, and sometimes you have books that are just for women, and sometimes you have just books for boys and books just for girls. But if we have a table that we bring people together, so it's okay to have one route that you go, and then it's okay to bring everybody into the picture. So no harm, no foul. I'm just like, okay, she has on a cute shirt.
I know.
I love the shirt. And look at the headband.
It's so hip.
I love it. Wow. Okay, everyone, if you're just not joining, and of course you can see our names at the bottom, but this is Joelle, who is the illustrator of Shelli's books. And her books focuses on science series for young people to give power and love to girls, to encourage girls to come into the sciences. But as we talked about, yes, we do want our boys to be into science as well, and to have that fun, balanced interaction so that you don't see race, you don't see color, you don't see gender, you just see a person who loves to have science. And one thing that, like you said, Shelli, is that science is just not in the laboratory or in the chemistry classroom, but
Right.
science is all over. When you walk outside, it's science. When you're at home, it's science. There's computer science when you're on the video games. So we interact with science all the time. Look at you go, Joelle. I'm like, okay, let me see how I can do this. I love this. I love this. And my son, he loves to draw. So I think I got him a drawing pad, but if I didn't, I'm definitely going to make sure he has all these wonderful tools because he loves to draw as well. So I love it, love it. All right. Now, and so typically for a beginner with the drawing pad, what is the cost for that? Is it extremely expensive? Like for a beginner? Do you know? And I know I put you on the spot, but I'm sorry.
I wouldn't say it's extremely expensive, but it's pretty pricey.
Okay.
But like I said, it is a very good investment.
Okay.
It lasts a long time.
Okay.
When I had that died was as old as some middle school children. So
right.
Yeah. I will say though, I mean, on an iPad, you know, you might not need to get the fancy setup that Joelle has, but on an iPad, you can get an iPad pen for some of the variations of iPads. So my husband draws his iPad and my kids draw on their iPads as well, which is probably not as expensive as a professional tool. But
I have seen a lot of artwork created on the tablet with the pen that looks like it was done in Photoshop. So sometimes you don't need all the expensive things. I had a teacher in college who he illustrated to us that it's not really the tools or equipment you have that make the art great, it's your technique and you as an artist and what you persist as. He drew a drawing with a chocolate bar to prove to us that it doesn't really matter the tools you have as long as you're dedicated and you know the technique and you practice. You can make great art either way.
Yeah. All right, everybody. I know we are past our time, but this has been so much fun. You know, we have to do this again. So we definitely will reset the clock and redo this again or do this another time when the next book comes out. So again, thank you all for joining us. Joelle, you could have left that picture up. That was nice. You can put it back up so people can look at it. Put it back up. Put it back up. Share it with everyone.
Hey, Joelle, I wonder if you could print that and sign it to Enda. Would that be appropriate or
not?
Oh,
I could do that.
Okay. Do that for me, please. Yes. All right, everybody. Listen, Joelle, first of all, Shelli, tell everyone how they can connect your website for you, your website for your book, social media handles. Go ahead and share that information.
Yeah, I mean, the books at all indie stores and, you know, your local stores. I always shop indie. It's at Barnes & Noble online, but my website is srjohannes.com, and that's my Instagram and my Twitter. And then Joelle, what's yours?
I'm gonna write it down because it's, again, when I started Instagram, I didn't know
it's
I'd be using this
Panna Cotta Cupcake, right?
Yeah, this is my Instagram.
Panna Cotta Cupcake.
And this is my website.
But you can create another Instagram page, but you might not want to with all the folks that are following. You might have to have two at the same time.
I'm in too deep.
Yeah, so I'm gonna tell you what I did. What I did was I have two Instagram pages. I have mine and then I have my bookstore. And I still do on both, but what I'm trying to do is get people used to the name so that it can be the name that goes all the way through. But I love it. There she is on Instagram, and you can follow her on her website page. Again, you can get a copy of this book by coming to the website endasbooktique.com. I love this, you guys. This is International Women's Month. We're celebrating women of all ages, all races. We're doing amazing things. And of course, if you go to my website, you know I always talk about women in STEM and what the contributions we've made, not since today, not just yesterday, but for years, hundreds of years, we've contributed to the world of science as women. And so because of that, we are great people. We are mothers of this land. Thank you all for this opportunity. You two ladies, hold tight. Again, for more information, make sure you go to our website, which is endasbooktique.com. That's endasbooktique.com. We appreciate you. Make sure you all stay safe. Get your little ones into science. That's what we're talking about. And you guys have an amazing week. God bless.